Today's November 22nd, 2016, the anniversary of John F. Kennedy getting killed, I guess around this time in Dallas. I don't know how many years ago. I know you were alive. I wasn't. John?
That's true. 63, I was alive.
Do you remember?
But I don't remember it.
Okay.
I remember after, the day after, and the subsequent days, but I don't remember that day. I know a lot of folks, that's what they say. Oh, where were you when that happened? I was too young, don't know. But I remember subsequent days.
Bunch of old, decrepit baby boomers that messed everything up in the 70s with Woodstock and free love. Anyway, don't get me started. Where were you when Kennedy was shot? I don't know. I remember where I was when Elvis died. We had a question on our YouTube site from a listener, Don Hand. He says, thanks for the podcast, guys. Great stuff in regards to CNBC OPEC discussion. Remember we talked about on yesterday's podcast with Jeff Curry?
I do.
He says, what happens to airlines in that situation as they tend to go down in PPS when oil goes up? What do you think PPS stands for? Go down in?
I'm not sure.
Price per share. Maybe.
Oh, price per share. Okay.
I'm guessing when oil goes up.
I would say that Jeff Curry from Goldman wasn't really discussing a runaway upside move in crude oil. In other words, the second largest input behind labor for the airlines is the cost structures that they have are, of course, labor. Then they have the fuel, and then they have the rental and or ownership cost of the plane, depending if they own it or rent it. But I think the issue is that crude oil is unlikely to run. I think too much will be brought online pretty quickly, in fact. So I'm happy that Jeff was on with us yesterday and thinking that he could be right on several counts, but I don't think that a sustained move into the 50s is in the cards. I can't remember the last time you get 13 or 20 men in a room and they come out in agreement on anything.
That's true.
So OPEC has not been able to do that, and I don't know why that all of a sudden changes. So I'm not betting on the same side as Jeff with this.
So I think it's a good answer for Don Hand, our loyal listener. He needs to change his avatar. Got like an egg. It's not even an egg. Just kidding, Don. Okay, so if you leave a question or comment in our YouTube site, we will answer it. We'll try to. I got a question. You saw activity in Delta today on the show. Does that have anything to do, because they have the oil refinery, right? I always forget that they have an oil refinery. Does that have anything to do with the oil?
It does have something to do with the profitability of Delta, and it's not, of course, because they refine jet fuel there and deliver it to all their planes. They don't. But what they can do, of course, is trade, and that's what they do. So they basically, it's a gasoline refinery, and that's not what jets burn. But they can basically, by operating that, they can still take their cost structure down at Delta. Warren Buffett bought it a couple weeks ago. He announced that.
Delta.
Delta, DAL, and American, AAL, and United, UAL. Bought all three. I think all three of them continue to work well into 2017 because I'm not looking for that runaway price in crude. And I think that the upgrades by Citigroup and by Imperial Capital for the last couple days, I think that's going to drive the stock through 50 and perhaps to about 52 within the next week to 10 days. So that's my play.
And you got options on it, right? What are you seeing in the option? What were the options you mentioned on TV?
Let's see. I saw unusual activity in the 49.50 calls in December.
Got it.
And
that's
the
right
stock
at the money.
Basically opened, just under 49, and it's just percolated up a little to just over 49. I own it just under 49 for those calls, and I'm selling calls above, at about the 50 and a half strike. I own the 48.50s.
Now, I saw they called Pete in from, I guess, what's he, in Minneapolis?
He is.
I saw that, and it was funny too. At the end, when he did his hit with Scott Wapner, was he threw in a whole bunch of sports right there at the end about the Vikings? I thought that was kind of cool. It's like kind of unsolicited, right? I don't know. Yeah.
And, but Pete watches that stuff. He talks about it, as many of the listeners know. Pete covers it for ESPN as well as Fox. You'll probably see him after Vikings games talking about the Vikings on television on Fox, and he covers college sports for ESPN, football primarily.
Yeah, it was almost like he had his ESPN hat on when he called in the CNBC. It was kind of funny. I don't know. That's my takeaway from it.
Right.
But he also had. Go ahead.
No, I think that that is a good one. And Pete was buying Ball Corp, BLL, which is basically a container maker of all sorts, whether it's packages, BLL, those ball jars like for canning and so forth. But they also make so many other ways, thermoses and everything else for transporting stuff, whether it's hazardous material or whether it's drinkable or whether it's something like jams and jellies. Ball Corp makes almost all of that. BLL is the symbol. They're a $13 billion company. We saw some pretty strong activity in the 77.50 calls out in February. So longer-term bullish play, and the stock was $7 off the recent highs, so seemed like a nice time to get in.
Okay. And, by the way, I held on to my Amazon again.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. What do you think, man? I'm on borrowed time here. What do you think? Okay, so hold on. I only own 5 contracts, but they're
I would take some profits, man.
I did already.
Yeah.
I had 15 contracts.
Yeah, but now you got 5 left. Why?
I'm down to my last.
Stock's up another $7 today.
Like 10.
You know what they say, pigs get fat.
I know. This is a good example. This is your case example of being a pig. I got an order and way above the market. I know. I'll start. I know. Yesterday, the contract I bought like $59. I know that's expensive, isn't it? And then it was like 72. I sold some, and then I sold some like 80. And I tried to sell some yesterday at like 83, I think, and it's at like 92 now. Anyway, I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
Right.
It's tough, though, when I got the winner, because it's like counterbalancing my gold trade. Then I'm just like taking it. Anyway. Now, you're seeing something in SYF.
Yeah, Synchrony Financial. This is basically, consumer financial services, some credit products, stuff like that. Like it a lot.
Those options in December. Oh, my God. 23,000. But they're in the money, though.
Yeah. They rolled up to the January 34th.
I see those. 36,000. Wow.
What I would point out to folks is, number one, the great thing about options is they tell you the time frame, January, and the strike price, 34. Well, the stock's at 34 right now, so it's not a huge leap. So as much as I normally like really chasing with things like this, I'm not terribly bullish on this one. I'm mildly bullish because of what it's doing.
Fair enough. Speaking of bullishness in Minnesota, are you going up to Minnesota for Thanksgiving again?
I am.
You going to do the Mall of America thing?
I might go there with Pete, and we might film a little, some episodes for half or something. That's what I was kind of thinking about anyway.
All right. So that's your plan. How about tomorrow? Are you going to be doing a podcast tomorrow, you think?
Yeah, maybe we can get one done on the way to the airport.
Yeah, I think we can. Well, that's all I think we got for today. I tell you what, John, down on the floor, it was so slow today in the VIX pit. Jamie came out, he did the VIX report, which you can watch. It's online here. But he said they were the conversation in the pit today was about a high school football team that wanted to sue for a play that a ref made and whether they should go into the finals. That's what they were talking about in the VIX pit today.
That tells you everything you need to know about how the week's already wrapping up.
I know, for Thanksgiving. All right, well, if we get something tomorrow, we'll do it.
All right, we will. There'll be some trades tomorrow. So remember, tell your friends about the iTunes and or YouTube subscriptions, and it's all free, and we'll be back here tomorrow.